What's going on, guys? This is Bogu and I have a really interesting piece of kit to show you today. It is KYLIN M AIO by VANDY VAPE, a piece of gear that uses 3 different kind of coils, which is stock coils, handmade coils and mesh strips. Yeah, mesh strips. This is something we haven't seen in a pod. So let's see how it all works. So this is the box for a KYLIN M AIO. If you want to see the specs of everything that's inside the box, including the coils and mesh strips, it's all in here. If you want to freeze frame and read through it. And these are the contents of the box. You've got your mod, you've got your stock coil pod, and you've got a tool. This tool is really important. I'm going to tell you why in a minute. And there's a lot of stuff in here. We've got a USB cable, USB-C type. Got a lot of O-rings, spares, springs and screws, a screwdriver and a rod for bending your mesh strips. Got a shoelace cotton. You've got your cutting tool for coils and a little box with your mesh strips. I'm not going to be using mesh strips today. I'm going to tell you why in a minute. So this is your mod. It looks really nice, really elegant. It's black on black, really nice finish. It's made of zinc alloy, so it's really solid, really good feel in a hand, really ergonomically friendly. So you've got your fire button here, really nice and clicky. You've got your window to see the level of your liquid in the pod. You've got some venting and certification on the bottom. It looks really nice. It's almost perfect, and I said almost because of this. And tell me if that's not ugly. It's horrible. If it wasn't for that, that would be the perfect device to carry in your pocket when you're out and about. It's horrible. It's just bad. So your main door comes off here. You've got a ribbon, which is a really important thing when you've got a battery tray like this. It's a lot more easier to take the battery out. Got a plus and minus contacts inside, and that make contact with these two positive and negative contacts. Got your USB-C port. Got up and down buttons and a little screen. I'm going to put a battery in. And VANDY VAPE. Just going to put my pod back in so it doesn't shout at me. There's no atomizer. There we go, a little animation. We've got 50 watts, 0.26. So we've got watts, we've got resistance, and we've got live voltage. So when I press the fire button, it is going to show us how much voltage goes into the coil. And we've got a battery indicator. So now when we want to change the wattage, we go up and down. We want to change the mode, we press 3 times. And we can go from watts to temp control to voltage control. That is really rare these days with mods. So you just go up and down in voltage. Okay, let's go back to temp control. So up and down controls the temperature, but this is only temp control. So now what we do, 4 clicks and we can change the wattage. So let's go back to watts. So that's your stock coil pod. It has 810 drip tip with the rubber O-ring inside the cap, not on the drip tip. Now you've got an airflow control on here that comes off. You've got airflow slits coming in from both sides, that does not come off. Your coils goes out from the bottom with a little adapter. It comes off from the adapter, and that is 0.3 M coil. It's a mesh coil that goes from 35 watts to 45, but I use it up 50, and that's the best for me. So whenever you want to use a coil like that, you just stick it back into the adapter, put a couple of drops of liquid on the sides and inside the coil, stick it back in, and that's the job done. Just airflow and drip tip. That's all there is. So this is our RBA pod, and just as in the stock coil pod, you've got a drip tip with the rubber inside, got your airflow regulation, that comes off, you've got your airflow slits in here, you've got your plug for filling up. You can take these two contacts off and pull it all out for cleaning. This is not cleaned. It's not cleaned because I had a lot of issues with the feeding rods, so that whole top comes off, and you've got two clamps holding the coil in place. You can use either your custom coil or a mesh strip, and that's pretty much it. I'm going to show you how to build on this baby. So as you could see, that was ridiculously easy. It is really newbie friendly. As you can see, there's a ceramic block in there. It's just like in the profile RDA. It pushes the cotton up to the mesh strip. If you use mesh, I don't like mesh, I'm not going to use mesh. That tool I was talking about, that goes over the top, and then you can plug it in to your mod. And you can glow your coils. And without that tool, you wouldn't be able to stick it in. It would keep falling out. So I'm going to put some wick in there now. And we are back with KYLIN M AIO from VANDY VAPE. What can I tell you about it? It is nice and heavy and palmable. It is almost stealthy in my tiny hands. People with bigger hands will easily be able to hide it in their hands. It's nice, pocketable, out and about mod. I like it a lot. Actually, this is my daily setup. I use this at home, and I use this out and about. Go to work with this. I like it a lot. So maybe do pros and cons. So let's do some pros, and the first pro would have to be the smoothness of the airflow and the range of it. It is wide open. It is really wide open. RDA style, really airy airflow. It has 10 tiny holes on its airflow, and I've got 2 of them closed off, and it has more airflow than a recurve RDA, so that tells you something. The quality and the flavour from the stock coil I get is really stellar. It is really nice flavour from that mesh coil. The airflow is a bit more restrictive, but that's about it. Another plus would have to be the size of the chamber. It's pretty much a tiny little RDA. Well, it's an RDTA, so it's pretty much a drip out with a tank underneath. And the flavour, it tastes like an RDA. it is a stellar flavour. The fact that it uses 3 different types of coils is a massive pro. You can use stock coils, you can use regular round or exotic coils, not too big because there's not a lot of room in there, and the mesh strips. That's a massive pro. The chip inside this little thing is waterproof, so you can take it out if it rains, or if you drop it into the water, nothing will happen. Or if your juice leaks out, which is unlikely because the pods are really watertight, but nothing will happen. You won't get any shorts or anything. The filling of the pod is really easy. You just pop the door off and you've got a little silicone plug in there, so you just pull it out and fill it without taking the pod out. That's a big pro. So let's do cons now, and the first con is related to pretty much every RDTA style of device, and that is tipping it over. That's the only way to get it wet, and you need to tip it one way and then pretty much spin it the other way, because you want both sides of the wick to get wet. You don't want one side dry, one side wet, so otherwise you're gonna get dry hits. This is not for beginners, kind of, because you got stock coils and you can use them, but when it comes to building your own coils, it's really easy to install them, but the wicking may be tricky. I had a lot of dry hits. It's because of the steel wires, but I wouldn't think it would be a good thing to get that as a beginner. The stock coil pod only holds 2.5 milliliters of liquid, and that's not a lot. That's not a lot, and you're going to be filling it all the time. The rebuildable section holds 5 mil, so that's a bit better. Two of my biggest cons are this is ugly. I would love that to disappear. I hate it. And another big con for me would be no indication whether the mod is on and off. To check, it's either look inside, so you need to take the door off, or do it by sound. Okay, that's on, but I would love to see an LED inside, so if I press it I can see if it's on or off, instead of just listening or accidentally firing it in my pocket. So all in all, the cons it has are greatly crushed by the pros. The flavour of this is amazing. It's a tiny RDA, so the flavour will be good. The mesh is good. It's a bit cooler, so that's why I don't use it. The stock coils are really good. I use it every day. This is my daily driver with the Ragnar when I use it at home, and this when I go out and about. It's easy to recommend, and yeah, I love it. I love it. So I don't know what else I can tell you. All I can say is, if you like my videos, leave a like or subscribe, show it to your friends. I'm Bogu, that was on the XL, and see you next time.